by two burglars breaking into the house. He had just grabbed a golf club and was about to call the police when they noticed him. The burglar pointed a gun at him, forcing him to drop his phone and hand over cash to save his life. The man said the money was in the dish on the table, but it was only this money. Clearly displeased, the burglars stole the man's watch but inadvertently revealed a tattoo on his wrist. At that moment, the son unexpectedly resisted and struggled with the other burglar. The man seized the opportunity to swing the golf club. He could have taken down the burglar but hesitated and ordered his son not to be reckless, causing the child to let him go. The wife heard the commotion and ran outside. Seeing her husband so submissive, she could only beg the burglars to take everything they could as long as everyone remained safe. Two thugs cursed and left. The man hurriedly locked the door tight. His cowardly actions left his son puzzled. "Dad, what's wrong with you?" Even the police mocked him, sarcastically suggesting he should secure the garage better in the future. In her heart, resentment swelled within the wife. How did she end up with such a coward? This made their already strained marital relationship even more fragile. Even when they slept, they had to use a pillow to separate them. Was the man really a coward? Absolutely not. His name is Hutch, a former top CIA operative from 20 years ago when he carried out an assassination mission. He disobeyed orders to spare the target's life. And later, this target went straight, got married, had children, and lived a happy life which Hutch deeply admired. Thus, he decided to retire early and live a normal life for 20 years. Every day, he arrives on time at the accounting firm. Tan comes home on time to cook for the children. The monotonous life has worn down their marital affection and dulled his sharpness. Until today, when two burglars broke into the house. Hutch chose to endure quietly to protect his family, but this made his son think his father was cowardly. His wife also holds a bias against him. Only his little daughter continues to love him, always remembering to hug him whenever she goes out. Hutch silently endures it all. After the family leaves, he angrily dumps the unfinished breakfast. The neighbor, upon hearing that his house was robbed, boastfully claims that it's a good thing the burglars didn't come to his house, or he would have shown them a thing or two. His sister-in-law works as a guard at the same company as Hutch. When handed a gun, she tells her brother-in-law to protect her sister and their child. Hutch takes the gun, and conveniently places it in a cookie jar in the refrigerator. Faced with countless doubts and mockery, Hutch didn't care. He was just protecting his family in his own way. Returning to the office, he locked the door tightly, and opened the secret intercom in the drawer. Inside, the voice of his contact, also a retired operative like him, came through. The events of last night spread quickly. The contact wanted to know what had happened. Hutch said the thieves were a man and a woman around 30 years old. The woman held an old gun that hadn't been fired in a long time, and moreover, the magazine was empty. That's why he didn't act. Although his family was safe, this incident plunged Hutch into endless sorrow. The latent violence within him was about to erupt that night, when he returned home. His little daughter said that her cat-shaped bracelet had disappeared. It had been left in the change dish, so it must have been taken by the thieves. His daughter was Hutch's little treasure. He couldn't take it anymore, and went out to the nursing home to find his father. He took out his father's expired identification, a stack of cash, and a handgun from the box. Seeing his son regain his confidence, a glimmer appeared in the father's eyes. Hutch visited every tattoo shop to find someone with a bird tattoo on their wrist. One after another, the shops said they had never seen it, and he continued to ask each person individually. The owner of this tattoo shop seems to have a questionable background, and the old soldier next to him is even more observant. The tattoo shop owner with tears recognized the expired identification. Moreover, the picture on it was not Hutch. He thought to himself that he had encountered a troublemaker today, and raised his steel fist. The two big goons behind it were also itching to strike, while Hutch calmly pulled out the cash, saying that he just wanted to find someone and did not want to cause trouble. The old soldier saw the tattoo of the playing card on his wrist, and immediately respectfully said thank you for serving the country. He is also an old comrade. The soldier secured the door tightly and closed the steel window. The tattoo shop owner immediately understood. The person in front of him was not someone they could offend. How can I help you? I am looking for this person. Based on the clues, Hutch went to the target's house. The thieves were an immigrant Mexican couple. Hutch did not say much. He directly struck the man on the head with a gun butt. He demanded they return the watch and the cat-shaped bracelet. The woman hurriedly returned the watch, but they really had never seen the bracelet. Hutch, angry, seemed ready to teach them a lesson. He shoved the man down and loaded his gun. At that moment, the sound of a child's crying came from the next room. Hutch opened the door to find that this couple's child had a congenital illness. They resorted to theft just to cure their child. Hutch immediately put away his gun, no longer wanting to intimidate this family. But the anger building up inside him had nowhere to go. Helpless, he could only punch the wall hard. The scene shifted to the bus. Since it was the last bus, there were only 3 passengers aboard. Hutch sadly returned home. He thought this angry fire would never ignite. Unexpectedly, an SUV blocked the bus. Then a few drunken guys got out of the vehicle. It seemed they had quite a bit to drink. They banged on the vehicle's door furiously. The driver, helpless, had to open the door. Hutch sat in the last row, a cheerful tune ringing in his head. The drunken guys hoisted bottles of liquor into the vehicle. They snatched a book from a passenger's hands and stomped on it mercilessly. The passenger, understanding the situation, bit his torn shirt and had to swallow his anger and walk away. The drunken drivers still won't let up. Continue to tease the young girl with her innocent face. Hutch gave a strange smile, stood up and walked past them. The girl looked at him with a pleading gaze. Hutch walked directly into the cabin, to take the phone the driver was about to use to call the police. He politely invited the girl out of the car and then shut the door. As for himself, he stayed behind. He took out the revolver and emptied all the bullets. "I will kill you." The goons laughed, thinking that just one person was enough to deal with this old man. The one with the braided hair struck first. Hutch firmly took a punch. He needed the feeling of pain to ignite his primal instincts. Then he took 2 more punches. Hutch started to fight back, pushing the braided hair guy down and throwing a retaliatory punch. The 6th guy snuck up. Surprisingly, the head of this guy was tougher than 5 punches. The drunks fell one by one. One of their cronies suddenly pulled out a knife and stabbed Hutch in the side. He tried to endure the pain and retaliate with a punch. They played dirty, jumping in to gang up on him. Alone, he struggled against multiple opponents and was kicked away. But the drunks were not much better off. The one with the explosive eyes faced the one with a bruised face. However, that was just the warm-up. He wrapped the watch around his hand and forcefully plunged the dagger deep into flesh. The main event was yet to come. Hutch was like a beast escaping from a cage. Attacked the drunks wildly. The teacher was about to lose, so the drunks quickly grabbed him tightly. 4 of them teamed up to throw him out of the car. They shouted incessantly. The one with the broken nose faced the one with the missing teeth. Hutch staggered back to the car, cutting the seatbelt to free his arm. The girl seized the opportunity to escape the car. He had a fierce look on his face, as if he wanted to devour them alive. The drunken thugs were done for. They charged at him and Hutch took it all on. He went on the offensive, beating them mercilessly. One was about to ambush him with a gun, but Hutch didn't flinch. Directly breaking the stick, he knocked the weapon out of his hand and then continuously attacked his head. The first thug fell to the ground and began to struggle for breath. It seemed that his trachea had been broken. Hutch didn't want to cause a homicide. Anyway, their crimes weren't severe enough to warrant death. So he picked up the soda bottle from the ground. He used a knife to cut a line across his throat and then inserted a straw to help him breathe. Tonight, Hutch feels like he has finally released the frustrations of the past 20 years. However, trouble also came with it. Because the guy with the crushed trachea is Yulin's little brother from the Russian mafia. The doctor said that his brother has suffered severe brain damage. The situation isn't looking good. It's highly likely that he can't be saved. Yulian was furious and grabbed a chair in anger. He stormed into the next room without saying a word and threw it straight at his brother's friend. He asked him what exactly happened tonight. When he found out that this useless bunch had been beaten by a single man, he couldn't believe it, that one man took on the whole gang. "What are you kidding?" Yulian erupted in rage again, repeatedly smashing the chair into his underling's legs. He knew his brother was very troubled, but blood is thicker than water. He had no choice. He must avenge his brother. The guy with the braids found that man's blood-stained bus pass. After working out last night, Hutch felt much more relaxed. His son asked about the injury on his face, but Hutch did not explain. Others are in even worse shape than Dad. He praised his son for being very brave last night. His son wondered if his dad had taken the wrong medicine today. Just then the phone rang. The contact was calling. "You've caused a big mess already." Among those he fought last night, one was Yulin's younger brother. A call lasting more than 30 seconds could be monitored. The contact requested Hutch to meet with the hairdresser. He will tell you who Yulian is. At first, Hutch didn't pay much attention and went to work as usual. But all day long he was lost in thought. In the afternoon the contact kept texting him, urging him to meet the hairdresser. "After you meet him, you'll thank me." Hutch had no choice but to go to a barber shop. This is the hub for intelligence information of secret agents. The barber handed him a file of documents. The documents reveal that Yulian is a dangerous man. There are many resources afflicted with antisocial personality disorder. A prime example is a major villain. Additionally, he controls a liquid cash flow of hundreds of millions of dollars from the Ivory Mafia. It seems like a good job. This also means he will have to struggle for a lifetime to manage this enormous sum of money. At the same time, Julian is also investigating Hutch's identity. The bus pass shows that this person is just a seemingly ordinary middle-aged man. But how can an ordinary man take on 6? Julian asks her to continue the investigation. The female assistant has a contact in the south corner. The contact received a blackmail letter. The adversary demands that he investigate Hutch's identity information. Otherwise, they will release his compromising photos. But after entering the name, the system shows it cannot log in. He immediately goes to the secret storage. Finally, he finds documents about Hutch. However, most of it has been obscured by a marker. Only one word is clearly visible. The contact sends the documents to the adversary. The female assistant pales after reading it. She hurriedly packs her things and leaves. I'm not doing this anymore. Salary is no longer needed. Wish you good luck. Julian realizes this person is not ordinary. Ben orders his men to act first while arrogantly insisting they must capture alive. In the evening, the Hatch family is enjoying delicious lasagna. Suddenly, they discover several SUVs on the opposite side of the road. A gut feeling tells him that the enemy is right in front of him. Hutch hurriedly brings his family down to the basement. He tells his wife not to call the police and quickly shuts the door. Armed assassins approach. Hutch cuts the power switch. The house is engulfed in darkness. The assassins simultaneously turn on their flashlights. A shot is fired at the lock, breaking the door down. They coordinate their tactics seamlessly. It's clear they are very professional. However, their target is even more professional. Hutch hides in the corner and suddenly swings a baseball bat, taking down 2 of them. He then breaks the bat and stabs one of them hard in the chest. He moved through the kitchen fluidly, like a shadow. He eliminated the enemy with a sharp knife. Finally, he skillfully cleaned up the bloodstains. Hatch quietly took down many assassins, taking advantage of his home turf. But still, he was alone and had to face unpredictable hidden dangers. The assassin used a stun gun to knock him out and then dragged him into the trunk. When Hatch woke up, he found his hands handcuffed behind his back. He quickly broke his thumb to easily escape from the restraints. He then tried to endure the pain and reset his finger joint. He took the fire extinguisher from the trunk and used his mouth to pull the safety pin. He forcefully pushed out the dry powder spray can from the compartment. The car lost control and crashed into a lamppost by the roadside. Hatch was seriously injured while all 3 assassins were killed. He found the key to the handcuffs and did his best to run home. Just as he was about to open the basement door, he discovered the house was filled with corpses. Looking in the mirror, he saw his face covered in blood. He didn't want to scare his family, so he took a hot shower to cleanse himself. The moment he opened the basement door, his wife was utterly astonished. With one hand he held his wife tightly, and with the other he covered his daughter's eyes. His son seemed unable to believe this was his father's doing. But the truth was clear before them. It turned out his father had always been hiding, waiting for the right moment. Hutch got the family in the car and told them to stay away for a few days. His wife wanted him to explain clearly, but now was not the time. He just pleaded with his wife to trust him one more time. After everything was settled, he promised to explain everything to his wife. After the family left, he turned on the gaming console. Inside were all the assets he had hidden away. He had stirred the nest, the hornet was angry, then let the storm hit even harder. He set the house on fire and drove away in the neighbor's 1972 Dodge Challenger. The V-89L engine is truly a ground aircraft. He called his father. The war has escalated. The mafia may come after him. Hatch reminded his father to be careful. However, he worried a bit unnecessarily because his old man is no pushover. Soon 2 assassins sneaked into the nursing home but came to meet their end. The assassin raised the golden Deezer eagle. The old man suddenly opened his eyes as quickly as a flicker of gunfire. He jammed his hand on the trigger at lightning speed. Then he pulled out the shotgun and dealt with each one. The caregiver rushed into the room. But from her perspective, the old man was just watching an action movie. One hand covered the assassin's mouth while the other held the TV remote. Indeed, the older the ginger, the spicier it gets. If the father is so formidable, the son will undoubtedly be no less impressive. Hat used dozens of gold bars to buy back a construction materials company in preparation for the upcoming battle, sharpening bullets and stuffing nails into glass bottles, adjusting the silent weapon to drill holes into grenades. Guns and ammunition were piled high in the office. Then he carried a barrel of gasoline with him. He stormed into the mafia's stronghold alone. You could say it was like a killer meeting a killer, or a Buddha meeting a Buddha. In just a moment the mafia assassins were wiped out. He poured gasoline into the fire hose. He activated the fire alarm to flood the vault with gasoline. This is truly a widespread deluge. Then he lit the match. $100 million turned to dust in the blink of an eye. The scene shifted to a nightclub. Julian was singing happily on stage. He sang calmly while eating steak beneath the audience. Julian stepped in front of him. He dared to enter his territory alone. Julian respected his opponent's courage greatly. But Hutch was not a reckless man. In fact, he was already prepared. On the table was a directional explosive device powerful enough to flatten this place. Hutch made a demand. He wanted to speak privately with Julian. Julian ordered his men to disperse. Two reckless men faced off to exchange words. Hutch bluntly stated that the assassins he had sent had all been eliminated. Not only that, but he also burned down the Mafia's slush fund. As Hutch understood, Julian also wanted to clean up the mess. Now the opportunity had come, they could stop fighting. Everyone lives the life they want. From now on, the river water does not encroach upon the well water, or they would settle it tonight. Hutch issued a warning. He would wait for Julian's decision outside. However, Julian was a coward. How could he allow others to provoke him like that? What face would he have left after this? Hutch calmly carried the bomb through the crowd and then sat in the car waiting for news. He silently prayed that Julian would stop so his underlings would spare a few lives. Clearly, Julian had made the wrong choice. The latent instinct within him erupted. Hutch slammed the gas pedal, turned the car around and charged into oncoming traffic, facing Julian. The two men looked at each other with narrowed eyes. A great battle was about to break out. After an exhausting chase, Hutch successfully lured the enemy to the construction materials company. Julian fired from the submachine gun, the bullet piercing Hutch's shoulder. He collapsed to the ground as the enemy continued to shoot. If nothing unexpected happened, he would be shot to pieces. But at that moment the glass above shattered. The window revealed a dark muzzle. The contact, Mr. Harry, risked everything to come to the rescue. The M24 sniper rifle was fitted with an 80mm suppressor. Each bullet kills a man. At the same time, the old man shows up with a handgun. Indeed, father and son are going to battle together. Under the intense fire providing cover, the two safely enter the factory while the old man curses. Damn, I miss the days when bullets flew everywhere. Tonight we have to make it a real showdown. The father and son divide their attacks to catch the enemy off guard. Hatch presses the button on the press to crush the grenade. The lead assassin meets a gruesome end. Harry sets up his sniper rifle on the stairs and takes out another one at close range. When the enemy rushes in, they accidentally step on the trap. The remaining three are knocked back, dizzy and falling helplessly. Harry, like a divine warrior, fires a single bullet that pierces through two foes. Regardless of whether it's scientific or not, it just looks good. The last one is tightly bound by wire. Harry shoots with a nail gun. The assassin flies out of the window, executing a perfect transition. The old man with a gun still moved and shot very accurately. The gunshots rang out as enemies fell one by one.